Hello and welcome to this episode of TrishRockTV, an energy shift, changing energy, shifting perception. This week on the show, our special guest is the incredibly magnificent Johnita Francis, an internationally known psychic medium, Gypsy Fortune Teller, astrologer, and published author of the Manifesting Manual. Johnita brings forward messages of clarity and purpose through divine channeling, mediumship, tarot, and remarkable use of all 8 Clair Senses. Johnita is passionate about seeing people succeed, empowering themselves through whatever means possible to become a better version of themselves than they were yesterday. Johnita is an advocate for the evolution of self and is able to assist you on your path to empowerment. A very talented energy reader, Johnita works with your energy and guides to better understand your current concerns, unlock trapped emotions, support the release of negative conditioning, and guide you towards your greater happiness, love, and peacefulness. And we'll be discussing some of those things tonight. Whilst readings and guidance are instrumental in achieving peace of mind, it's the self-awareness and the personal growth that reaps the most benefits. By understanding ourselves, we can manifest for the greater good. Johnita is a published author, life coach, entrepreneur, and metaphysics educator, and brings a wealth of spiritual, earthbound, and many moons of knowledge to you. It is my very great honour and pleasure to welcome my beautiful friend, Johnita Francis. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you very much for having me, Trish.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. And we've known each other for a little while now. We met at an expo, and you just had the most incredible energy, just different to many of the other people around, and I was just instantly drawn to you because I kind of feel I'm a little bit different too. So I was just kind of drawn. I'm like, wow, okay, we can make a difference just by being our most magnificent, incredible selves. And you've really taught me that. But tell us a little bit, Johnita, about how this all started for you.
Ooh. It all started for me. It was a balmy night. And I signed up to be born through some really horrific challenges and some really cool challenges too. And I think if you're doing this sort of medium work and how far I've come in honing all of my skills, you sort of don't always have the easiest of roads.
Yeah.
So, I thought, I'm a bit tough. I'll be born to a couple of people that perhaps won't nurture me the way I needed to be nurtured. Which was brilliant, and I don't want anyone to feel sad because you can tell by the look on my face it's not a sad thing to be born into a non-nurturing home, because what that did was that got me and set me up very early to be able to talk to spirit.
Yes.
Because when no one else was paying attention to me and everyone was abandoning the small child, spirit was always around me. Yeah. So it started very, very early. Whoop, there they go again. And it started very, very early for me, and they've never left me. So if you think of ghosts, I'm Henry the 8th AM. That's my whole life. And you know what? I honestly would not have it any other way. So, yeah.
It's always a blessing, isn't it? And we do kind of choose before we come in what movie we're going to play out in this lifetime and all the characters that we need in that movie. And it's never easy. But you know what? If it was easy, if we cruise through with no challenges, then we wouldn't expand and grow. And
exactly. It's character building, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I love the way you used that analogy that we choose our movie, because we are so much in alignment. Our weirdness is just complementary to each other. because I always teach people, you know, you're the director and the producer of your life.
Yeah.
The time for you to be a supporting actor or a standby or someone that stands in the background cheering, you know, in a group of 5,000 people, that's not your life.
No.
Don't be one of those supporting actors. Be right up front. Be the producer. Be the director. Do what you want to do. It's predestined. So you've already got all the tools that you need to do exactly what you will achieve in this lifetime.
Absolutely.
So just go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, some people get it from an early age and others it takes till like their 50s like me. But it doesn't really matter because there's no race. We all get there in the end. And
that's exactly right. But it also happens at the right time.
Absolutely, it really does.
There's no wrong time. It doesn't matter whether it happens when you're 5, 55, 505, maybe. It might be a little trouble achieving the 505. But it doesn't matter. And this is the thing, like we've got so much competition in every area of our life, but our personal journey is a personal journey. It's our own path. You can't compete with anybody else. It doesn't matter. I can't even say that I'm further down the path than Susie next door because Susie's path is not my path. So how do I know how far the path is or where it's going to end? It's
Absolutely.
just, yeah, you can only compete with yourself.
And that's a thing in society we've been taught, though, isn't it? The ranking system plus the controlling system, and you know, as soon as you meet someone, you know, one of the first things most people ask, "What do you do?" And then they judge you on their thoughts about what you do and how much money that means, or what prestige that means, or they give you a status in their own head and heart based on external stuff. And that's the criticism and the judgment that we've got going on inside ourselves, and it's really a comparison with ourselves. And so you meet someone, you rank them so that you know how safe you are with them or not. And this goes on underneath.
Yeah, and you know, the easiest way to test what sort of people you're around, and I do this a lot, not so much now, but when I used to interview for jobs, in Muggles jobs, and they would say, you know, what are your interests? Well, I like eating spaghetti and I'm a medium. 9 times out of 10, that is the end of the interview. They're cooking the books, they're bullying, the culture's terrible. They might have a really wonderful business, but they hate it, and they're the CEO. They hate their job. They don't want a medium to know any of this.
No.
So I separate the men from the boys very early, and there is no shame in knowing I'm a medium. I'm not a bloody mind reader, but don't tell them that. So
that's right.
Separates them really quickly, and there's just, you know, it's a wonderful gift to have. It's very cool. It is very cool.
Absolutely. I've shifted in that recently too in the last couple of years. I used to put, you know, well, who are you? And I put my job title first, and then I would say, but I also, you know, am a psychic and everything else. And because I thought that was a better ranking system to be accepted, but it wasn't acceptable for me, and it makes it really out of alignment. So now I'm straight into it as well. It's like, well, you know what? I do energy work. I'm a psychic and a healer. And I also have this that I do. So it's really good. That's that vulnerability that we were talking about earlier. Vulnerability's got to start with yourself, doesn't it? To really be honest with yourself, because then you also get honest people showing up who really love you for who you are. So let's have a little touch on something I love that comes out of your mouth when we're having conversations is muggles. I just love it. I laugh every time you say it. And because of the Harry Potter, and you know, it kind of gives you to me it really helps with not taking things personally.
Yeah, it puts the fun factor in. It really does put the fun factor in. And when I applied for this Muggles job that I have 18 months ago, I actually told them in my interview that I do this. And you know what? They still offered me the job. They love it, and they're so on board with it. And, you know, I asked for just a part-time job because I still need to do all the we're humans, we're souls and spirits in a human existence.
Yes.
And humans have to earn money to pay bills. It is a simple. So, and I hate that, but you know what? My soul hates it, but my body gets it.
It is.
So when I asked and said, you know, I really love to, my medium stuff is my passion, and I'm really loyal to working here as well. Can I balance the two? Is this an opportunity for me to do the both? And my Muggles boss, bless his cotton socks, said to me, you are really good at both things. I don't want you to have to choose.
Oh, how wonderful. Oh, that gives me chills. And that's when you knew you'd found the right workplace.
Absolutely. So it's still a Muggles job, you know, and they've got every now and then they'll bring a broom upstairs and park it next to my office and tell me that I have to park my car downstairs. But they're playful, and I love that, because it should be an environment that you feel safe to be your authentic self.
Absolutely, and that was one of the things that held me up for a long time. I didn't feel like I was being authentic, and that is what I work with people as well. There's so many people out there who have this tug of war going on and don't feel safe to be themselves. But you have to also have that understanding that there are other people in fear of you being authentic, and that they're going to act up like putting brooms around. And you just have to let it go and just understand it's not personal. And standing up in your power and in your authentic truth really is the empowerment you need to really have that brilliant life that we all want. And I know that this is something you love working with people, is that self-empowerment, not looking for the external to make them feel worthy.
Yeah. And you know what? It was very recent. Now, I've been doing this for over 25 years. My first paid reading was when I was just before I turned 16, I beg your pardon, I was just after I turned 16.
Okay.
And so I've been doing this for a very long time, and it's really only been in the last couple of months that I've asked for reviews. And I've got a review on my website quite some time ago, and I was so gobsmacked that, and I'm thinking, are they writing it about me? Because it's not. I don't see it as my work. I'm the conduit. I'm the little Telstra girl that takes the cord from the spirit world into the human world. Yeah. And all I do is translate the messages. And because I don't put my own spin on it, it's not about making. If I get a spirit that comes through and says, punch him in the arm and say, get over yourself, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I might not punch you as hard as what they do, but because that is a term of endearment, and that's confirmation for the person that I'm reading for, that this is who I've got. Yeah. So if I say, here's a lovely flower for you, they send their love, and that is not something that they would ever do, but it makes me feel good about myself, that's not being authentic. No. So I'm going to punch you in the arm and say, get over yourself, because that's the message I've received.
And I can absolutely confirm that she will.
Yeah, I'm very authentic. You need to, for me, I think you need to be like that, because you are, you know, the whole industry needs a bit of a shake-up, because there's a lot of people that are still working from a place of ego, and they say, you know, oh, there's no ego, but there's just not authentic filtering, you know. It needs to be straight from the source, and if it's straight from the source, you can't change it to suit yourself. You have to go with what they're telling you to do it. And the more I do that, and the more I listen to them, the more people come through. And they could be Italian. I don't speak Italian. They speak Italian. I understand in my mind's eye what they need to say. I'm able to convey that message because I trust that spirit is telling me exactly what they need me to know to help that person. And the whole industry has a real sense of duty of care and responsibility to be ethical and have integrity, because we're really dealing with very vulnerable people for one reason or another. So as much as I fart around and joke, and I do fart around and joke and, you know, have playfulness with it, it's a very serious job, and I take it very seriously.
Yes, you really do have to have that customer care element and the integrity behind things. That was one of the things I didn't struggle with struggle with is the wrong word, but it's one of the things I was very mindful of in the beginning, because you do get those messages sometimes and you think, oh, how are they going to take it? And it's the delivery of it has to come from a really heartfelt, loving intention, not as you said before, not from a place of ego. Oh, look what I can do, and I'm just going to tell you this message and not worry about what you think. It's, it makes me feel good. It really has to come from that beautiful intention of, someone has passed and they're wanting to give you this message, and let me hold you in that space while you receive it. It can be delicate. Now, the other thing I really find interesting about you is that you really do tell it as it is, but you also understand that everybody is in the place where they are, and it's always the perfect place. One of the things I'm really noticing a lot now in this industry, because it can become a bit cultish in different areas, which is not the essence of it, but that's the ego, doing things for people. But everybody is intuitive. Everybody has intuitive ability, and can actually, practice and get better at all of the different abilities. But everybody's got ability. But there are people and places out there that tell people they're not ready to do this or they're not ready to do that, and it's kind of keeping them down. But you and I both know that everybody has got brilliant abilities right where they are. So I love that you help people with that as well, and it's not just this is what is coming in for me and this is what I can hear for you, but what do you hear for yourself? What do you feel? And you really do help them give that self-empowerment again, I guess, that confidence to really start trusting in their selves.
Absolutely. I find that if someone comes to me and says, oh, I really want to understand about automatic writing, and I'll say, cool, when did you hear about automatic writing? Well, it just popped across my life. It popped across my Facebook. I heard a conversation. That means that there's something in this for you. It is not up to me to say, you're not ready because you haven't done the 5 steps of how to be a medium. It's up to me to go, cool, let's crack it. This is how I learned how to do automatic writing. Let's see if that same thing works for you. And if it doesn't, let's put the feelers out to see how other people did it. And we will find someone that might be able to help you or trigger you in that direction so you can do it for yourself. I'm not in competition with any other readers.
No.
And when I go and meet someone and they're doing something different, I go, what is that? How are you doing that? What does this mean for you? Because I want to learn. I want to understand how they do it, because not everybody is the same. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So it's not up to, you don't have to do a course on, intuition. And I find I hear a lot too. And I wonder if you do, but people say, oh, I used to be intuitive, but I'm not anymore.
Oh, yeah, because you know why? Because somebody told them that they're not, because they can't do something.
Exactly.
But, there's so many aspects to being intuitive. And, I feel we've all had those thoughts at some stage. I mean, I thought, and this, I've mentioned before, because I'm, not as strong in one area as perhaps someone else is, I feel maybe less than, but I've got my own way that I do things and I'm strong in that way. And so I know that now, but it took me a little while. But when you're just learning, when you come across the comments and the people say, oh, well, if you can't read tarot, then you can't be a card reader. If you, can't do mediumship, then, you can't help people. And they take it as gospel and they give up the trust of themselves.
Yeah, I get that a lot with people saying, oh, I've got a tarot deck, but I can't remember what's in the book. My first thing is throw the bloody book out. That's someone else's interpretation of pictures.
It is.
I can teach anyone how to read any deck of cards in under 5 minutes.
Yes.
Because what it's about is nobody ever goes to a crystal shop or online and buys a deck of cards because they hate the artwork.
Yeah.
They buy it because they think it's pretty.
Yes.
What I teach them, the first rule of Tarot Reading 101 is all the pretty colours and the pictures. And then I get them like the Lover's card. What can you see in that? What's in the background? What's in the foreground? What does this picture mean to you?
And what are you hearing? What are you hearing about that and feeling?
How are you breaking it down? You don't need the book. The book is honestly someone else's interpretation. It might give you a guide, but if you want to read intuitively, and that is the best style of reading, throw the book away and concentrate on the fact that you've got these beautiful artwork and start listening to what the artwork is telling you. I've got a dragon deck or something, and it's all these different colors. And when I pull the cards out, people go, oh, I really love that pink. So they're drawn to pink. So pink is rose quartz. Rose quartz is unconditional love. So I'm thinking about all these other little things that I know. And it's not even because I've been doing it forever. It's because I'm aware of what is in the card, what color you're attracted to. And someone might say, I really like the blue. And you look at that person and they're wearing 5 different shades of blue. You know, it's what they're drawn to. And this is intuitive ability. That lady that wore those 5 shades of blue already knows that there's blue meaning. She needs to look at blue. There's something about the color blue that she's not getting in her life, and she's trying to artificially manifest it.
Yes.
So the fact that she's drawn to the blue in the dragon card, it's just one little tiny thing. And she's come to me to pay me for some help. She already had the answer. She's a walking billboard of the answer.
She already knew. It's all just about trust, isn't it? I'm the same with cards. With oracle cards, I don't tend to read the meanings, although Spirit directs me to the book every now and again because there'll be a sentence there that someone needs to read. But apart from that, I'm the same as you. The cards talk to me, and they talk to everybody if you allow it, and if you trust it. Now, this is going to be a big question, but they just keep hammering me with it. So I'm just going
to get the giggles before you ask something.
All right. So, and just so people know, before we got on, I said to Johnita, your spirits have come in and said, don't worry, we'll direct you with the questions, and there'll be some messages Johnita has for everybody that she doesn't even know yet. So.
No one like us to be the puppeteers of the spirit world. And that light you see in the flickering in the background, that spirit running through my house, they think it's hilarious.
Yes, yes.
Do it all right.
Just keeps happening. So, Johnita, what impact do you want to have on the world? I know that it's person by person. And I know that you impact every person you see, but what impact would you like to have on the world with your presence and your gifts?
Okay, that is a doozy of a question. Thank you, Spirit. Impact on the world. Look, everybody's walking a different path. Everybody is trying to achieve love, forgiveness, all those things. But I think they're too tough on themselves, because unconditional love is something that a dog does automatically. For us, it's harder. It's so much harder to love someone unconditionally because we have to have boundaries in place. If I loved my first partner unconditionally, I'd still be copping beatings every second day. I had to love myself unconditionally before I could love anybody else unconditionally. And the more I loved myself unconditionally, the grace of man would come to walk by my side and to my husband. So that's probably the impact that I want for people, is to understand that unconditional love is a beautiful notion, but I don't think it's realistic when it comes to other people. We have to love unconditionally ourselves first and accept who we are, accept this personal growth, accept our mistakes. I don't believe that we should love someone and let them go. I don't want to love someone who has abused me and then love my husband, I think that devalues the word love. Yeah. I just want to forget that person, and I want to heal so that person that abused me no longer had that control over me or my emotions.
Yes.
So the impact I would like to have on others in the world is to be able to teach them that, and to teach them unconditional love for themselves, boundaries when it comes to other people, and for acceptance of all things great and small.
Beautiful. And you're a living example of that.
Absolutely. You've got to walk it before you can talk it.
That's it. That's it. All right. So the other thing that I'd like to ask is, what was the toughest lesson that you've learned so far?
So far, thanks for that. Lesson. Look, I'm going to be straight out there and say vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in an environment that if you were vulnerable, you got picked on. Any sense of achievement that you may have felt was squished. Anything where you start to feel good about yourself was squashed. So I really feel the toughest lesson was how to be vulnerable and how to choose my audience with that vulnerability too. And it's about that unconditional love for myself first, learning what that means for me, putting my boundaries in place. And the toughest lesson was, okay, now I've got that. Can I break down my walls a little bit? Can I be vulnerable? And I'm doing that with the Warrior Chronicles on the Spiritual Events Directory, breaking down my vulnerability, sharing my story. And I was talking to a lady tonight, and she said, you know, you've gone deep. And I said, sweetheart, I've only just touched the surface. And she said, this is so profound what you're doing. It moved me to tears. And I thought, wow, like my story, my vulnerability, the shame that I felt. I was such a private person before. And when I was talking to this lady this afternoon, I said, I understand why I was so private. I was so private because I was ashamed of where I had come from. I knew who I was. I had done all this work on myself, but I didn't want anyone in my circle getting too close to realize the horrific things that I'd been through, because I didn't want them to think that they were sorry for me or that they had pity for me, because all of those things have built the character that I am, given me the opportunity to sit here right now and share my story and do a bit of a Me Too movement. But my Me Too movement is not about sharing war stories. It's about sharing empowerment and warrior stories.
Yeah, it's a different conversation than this is what happened to me as the conversation. No, that's not the conversation. It did happen, but look what I've become is your conversation.
Exactly. And I mean, the trials and tribulations that we go through will unite us because it's a common ground. But I don't want to stay there. I want to say, okay, yep, shit hit the fan. Yeah. But you know what? I'm cleaning that fan and I'm throwing it out on the tip and I'm going for something. I'm going for gold. I'm going for something else. And that's where my fun factor is. That's where I really love to kick gold and feel most humble when someone comes back to me and says, you know what? I did exactly what you said I should do. I followed this resource. I went and I had a look. And I don't tell people that they have to follow what I do because my soul is very different from everyone else's. Yeah. But I do tell them that their empowerment journey is very individual and not everybody's going to understand it, and that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay. Yeah, it is okay. They have to be brave enough to feel it though.
Exactly right. Exactly. And having that somebody else that's gone through something similar and having somebody else saying, you know what, there's no shame. Yeah, I got, had some really horrific stuff done to me as a child, but that's the adult's shame. It's not mine.
Absolutely.
And the more I talk about it, the more people are sharing with me their own horror stories and their own war stories. And the more we talk about it, the more we can understand ourselves and let go of some of that hurt. It's not strong being in a pressure cooker environment. The strength is when you're able to help other people and hold your hand out and hold on to theirs and take them with you on that journey. So that's,
absolutely.
That's the impact I want. Yeah.
And while you're still in the grips of all that, they still have the power over you. So it's really taking your own power back.
Absolutely.
And the show that you're doing now on Spiritual Events Directory, I'll have all the links up here for people to connect with you. It's called The Warrior Movement, and it really is about taking a stand. The word, warrior is the fight over the mind. It's the victory over our thoughts that keep us stuck in that place of pain and not our full selves. So, to really have victory over that and really do it in a balanced way. It's not all, push. You've got to have the flow as well. So the masculine and the feminine, the both sides, the spirit, the physical, and really that beautiful flow of life. So, tell us more about the warrior movement, and what it's about in your words, and how that's going to evolve, and your show on Spiritual Events Directory.
Sure. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to do, because I've been a reader for a very long time and there's merit in reading, but I don't want to tell you that you're going to meet, his name's Ben, and you're going to meet him at the bus stop on a rainy Thursday morning. That is boring, okay? I want to talk about you and what you're going to do and how you're going to grow so that you can meet, not Ben, because Ben's not good enough for you. But the guy is that's sitting down the road with an umbrella holding it over the older lady's face so she doesn't get wet. I want you to meet that guy. That's the guy that's deserving of you.
When's that going to happen, Johnita? No, just joking.
We've never asked for direction. They just don't. So I decided that, and I was talking to my husband about it, and he said, well, but you're such a fabulous reader. Yep, thanks, okay, I can interpret what they're telling me really easily, thanks for their compliment. But that's not fun. Yeah. Fun is success, watching people high-five themselves because they've got success. So I created the warrior movement because it's a movement of people wanting to champion themselves, wanting to be a warrior of light. We hear about all this working in the light path, light workers. Nobody actually knows what the hell that means, okay? It's a really cool word, but no one knows really what it means. So the warrior movement is about a movement towards championing yourself. Yeah. And I wanted it to be a community of people because I'm not going to stand at the top of the classroom and say, this is what you have to do if you want to make it. Because everybody's different. Everybody's got a different soul contract. I can say to you, this is what I did, and this is how far I've come, and I know that I'm not quite there yet, and it doesn't matter, but I'm going to share what I know with you right now, and that hopefully might help you go and explore, research, grow a bit more. Follow me in my exact footprints if that's what you feel is the right thing for you. So the warrior movement came around, and when I ran the numerology on it, it came out to an 8. And I thought, power and abundance, excellent. I want to give people an abundant life, and I want them to have power over themselves and to champion themselves. So then I started doing some videos, and I did a video one day, and this lady wrote to me and said, I'm from Port Macquarie. You hit the nail on the head. This is exactly what I wanted to hear. It's like you got up there and told my story. And I went, well, bugger me. I might be onto something here. Then I started doing more videos and more things, and it's just evolved from there. And now I've got the Spiritual Events Directory. I'm so happy because my message will get out to more people. And even if you watch a program and you get nothing out of it and you tune in or you come back later, it's like reading a book. When you're in the 5th grade and you read Roald Dahl and you read The Witches and you think it's a cool thing, but then you read it again in the 8th grade and it has a whole new meaning for you. Yeah. So sometimes we're not ready to receive everything, or it doesn't make any sense for us. We go away, watch it again, cross paths with it again, and then it makes more sense. Yeah. So that's what I wanted the warrior movement to be all about, just empowering people, letting them know that there's no one way to success. There's no one way to being intuitive, or there's not one way of finding the perfect partner for you, or growing, or spiritual awareness, or even meditating. I teach people to go and lift heavy weights if that's how they meditate. I can't think of anything else when I'm lifting heavy weights. So that's my meditation. Yeah. Present in the moment, try not to kill myself.
Yeah,
Spirit.
it's such a great thing to be teaching people, because I got stuck in that for many years. Oh, they're successful, I have to do what they're doing to be successful, but it doesn't work because it's not their energy. It's your energy you've got to step into.
I had a lady 2 or 3 years ago, and she was friends with me, and then she took all of my business ideas and stole them and put them into effect as her own. Now, when I moved to Sydney, it became a bit more aware of what she was doing locally and realised, they're all my ideas, hang on a minute. So that was pretty confronting, because I thought that that person was a friend, not a business thief.
Yeah.
But none of her ideas have worked, because they're not her ideas, they're mine.
Yeah.
So they're not going to work. So I found that a big lesson for her, but all of my ideas are safe because they work.
Yeah, because when we start panicking and getting into that negativity of someone's taken something from us, that ruins our energy.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah. It would have allowed her space. And it just, I mean, I'm still disappointed that possibly was her agenda all along. I'm not really sure. And you know what? I don't really care. Yeah. I was so hurt that someone who portrayed themselves to be a friend did that.
Yeah.
And it's not necessary. It's really not necessary, because spiritual work doesn't belong to me. I didn't trademark it.
Yeah.
So if she had have just said, hey, that's a great idea, can I use it on mine?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Put your own spin on it. Make it yours, though. Don't just take my idea in its wholeness, because it's my idea and it's my passion, and I will feel it the way it should be coming out. Yeah. So I'm disappointed that her business did not go well for her.
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed that she learned a tough lesson in the process as well. But spiritual work, there's plenty for everybody. You only got to go to a fair. Everybody's working. The right people come to you. Yeah. You'll never get someone that's not supposed to go to you. Whether they set out to come for a reading with me, and then they stumbled across you and they finished up getting a reading with you, that person was always supposed to go to you. I just had to draw them to the fair.
It's always perfect, isn't it? I remember the first time I went and I went into a reading room, I was petrified. I'm like, oh my God, what if someone comes to me and they want this and I don't do that because I do this, and I'm just going to be ridiculed and blah blah blah. And a really beautiful friend of mine, Jackie, said, you will get the exact people who need your exact message. So I went into that room and I had 3 readings that day, 3 people who came to me at this little fair, and they were all exactly the same. They're all teachers. Really interesting. So it's always a message for us too, right? So and I was able to give them exactly what they needed, and they didn't ask for anything else, and it was all really perfect. And so I've had confidence after that. But that's the other thing. I think that a lot of people intuitively who want to express their gifts get really worried that they're not going to deliver what the person wants, but we always do.
Absolutely. I remember doing a platform years ago, and I said to all my spirits, every single one of them, and they're all hanging around here right now, what if you don't turn up? And I swear they all started laughing at me at the same time. I can't even poop by myself, Trish. It's if they wouldn't turn up when I needed them the most. So I thought, valid point. Where you've never left me, why would you leave me now? So and they still don't leave me ever, which is great, because I never want them to.
No, they've been dancing across your screen the whole time, so it's fun. I'm glad. Welcome. I'm glad that they're there. Yeah. So with the warrior movement, just let me find my little screen here. So the Warwick Chronicles is a weekly open discussion about finding, understanding and embracing authentic self. And this is on Spiritual Events Directory every week, and you'll learn how to listen to your soul through a series of metaphysic classes focusing on you as an individual, releasing labels and negative conditioning along the journey. And it really is a gateway to your higher self, which is actually your mission in this lifetime, is to get to that higher self and get them out of muggledom.
Exactly, yeah. Realizing their potential. I mean, they're not a label. Even when I remember having to pick up my son one day from daycare, and he always called me Jody One Kenobi. And people thought that I might have been the stepmom, I'm the auntie, I'm the lady across the road. They never thought, even though my son is a dead ringer for me, that he was my son, because he didn't call me mum. And I remember one of the ladies saying to me, "Oh, how do you feel about that?" And I said, "Well, I didn't stop being me when I became a mum."
No.
And she looked at me like I was the devil incarnate. And I looked at her like, "Did you give up yourself?"
Yeah.
Yes, you're a mum, but you're still you.
Yeah.
You're still you. It's just an added layer. It's a value add. I'll always be Xavier's mum.
Absolutely.
But if he wants to call me Joby One Kenobi, that's cool. I don't mind. He can get his tongue around that at 2 years of age. Knock yourself out, kid.
Well,
So,
and then it's a label, isn't it? Whether the label is mum or
exactly.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's still the label that he is calling you for that role. And you know, who says it has to be the word mum?
Exactly right. And you know, he was comfortable with that. It doesn't change our relationship. I don't have to be called mum because I have a hierarchical chain of command, or I'm some sort of holier than thou person. I find the whole label of mum puts some serious crazy thoughts in women's head about what mum looks like
and what's expected.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we don't go in being ourselves and pop a child out of our bodies and then all of a sudden turn into Superwoman. Okay, it just doesn't happen like that.
No.
So be tough on ourselves. We, you know, just relax. If your child's clean, fed, and not dead, you've done a great job. They're just, you know, that's the child wakes up every day, has breakfast, has a bath, goes out, plays, comes home, eats dirt, and still alive. You're making it. You're winning at being a mum.
You've won. That's it. That's it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Too many connotations on what we're supposed to be and what mums look like. I always have a giggle and say mother rhymes with smother for a reason. It doesn't go very well in the mums groups.
Yeah, no, I bet it doesn't. But, you know, when they're ready for self-empowerment, they'll come and join the warrior. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Johnita, and I know that you've just got such a beautiful, kind heart and such a huge energy and spirit, and you're definitely here with a big purpose, and I feel that you're really stepping into that now. It's going to be a really beautiful chapter for you and everybody who comes into your awareness, because everybody's going to benefit and beyond.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for sure.
Absolutely. So I'll have all the links here for people to connect. If you want to connect with Johnita, what's the name of your website, Johnita? Do you have a website?
I do. It's www.insightsbyjohnita.com.
Wonderful. And I've also got your Facebook page here people can connect with, and I'll put up the link for your special events directory event page as well for your live shows every week. It'll be amazing, so people can connect with you quite easily. All right. Thank you for coming on and being in this episode. It's been brilliant talking to you. With you, I should say, and thank you to all your little spirits who've been very present.
I wish I had got me a cup of tea though. I mean, they might be dropping the ball a little bit.
I know, right?
Need a vacuum cleaner either.
Oh, well, thank you. So please connect with Johnita, and yeah, definitely not even join the worry movement. Be it.
Live it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you next time on Trish Rock TV. Bye for now.